let's talk about the company that you got now and what it does.
Okay.
So,
So, I got corporate America, and I loved that for a while, for a long time. And man, I really thought I was going to be there forever. And some things happened. Obamacare happened. And so I left there, and then I became, I did some consultant work, and I was a vice president of another dental insurance company. And frankly, I was bored. And so it dawned on me that I really had a choice. See, I'm at a fork, right? Fork in the road. Do you want to be the one making the decisions, or do you want to have the decisions made for you? And so I decided, much to the chagrin of my wife, that I was not going back to corporate, and I'm going to blaze my own trail.
how old were
Uh,
you? How old were you?
that was 2012. So what is it? I don't know, like
Approximately.
33, 33, um, maybe. Yeah.
Do you have kids at the time you made that decision?
Yeah, we had one. Hmm. Well, she wasn't pleased.
And a mortgage and the whole deal going
Oh
for it?
yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Just want to let
Well,
people know the situation you chose to jump off the cliff.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's when you come from a background where you've had two nickels to rub together, and you've had your back up against the wall, and you've built everything up, not just
Some,
once but twice.
I do.
It gives you the confidence to do it.
Well,
You know.
you had the confidence. It's not an everyday occurrence that people go to the edge and they don't jump. So either and emotionally, it takes a lot to take the risk, particularly with a family. You got to leverage your ass off to get out to get the money to be able to do this. You got to take the biggest risk.
So it's
Don't
a
lose.
hustle
Well,
for
for
sure.
you, but you're a hustler.
Mm.
So, it's all okay for you. I don't want to make light of it. It's just really because you created a business that looks to me as it's got a very strong future given where my view of where healthcare is
Yeah.
going.
So
And
I'll tell you. Hold on. I'll finish this part out. So this part of the story, I think you might find important. So I didn't do this PQ or practice quotient. Like, I think the name's clever. My wife thinks it's silly. Um, that was not what I did. I'm an insurance guy. So I just said, you know what? I'm certified, and like, I'm also certified in disability in addition to dental. I was done with dental insurance. So I went out and I started my own insurance financial services business. I went and got my series licenses and all that stuff. Now, my background is really large group benefits. So I was doing like larger deferred compensation cases, executive disability, stuff like that. I didn't want to sit around your table and talk about life insurance. Life insurance is important, but like, the idea of doing that makes me want to jump off a bridge. And so at any rate, I had built this network in Georgia of dentists for the smaller regional dental insurance company. So I knew all these docs, right? And so I'd go in there and I'd say, and they weren't really my target, but I got to know them. I like people. And so I'm like, hey, listen, you need to put some money in your 401k. And they're like, oh, I don't have any money, Pat. Like, what are you talking about? You've been here for 30 years. There's patients in the waiting room, and I walked in. What's the problem? And they're like, oh, Pat, the insurance companies, they're killing me. They're killing me. I'm like, well, how many plans do you take there, Doc? I don't know. All of them. Why do you do that? I don't know. You realize you can negotiate that, right? No, I had no idea. Like, yeah. So I thought to myself, hey, there's got to be somebody to help these folks out, right? There's got to be somebody that does this. And so I looked around and I couldn't find any in the South. And I don't know how familiar you are with the South, but if you ain't from around here, you ain't from around here. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
Um,
know what you mean about that.
and so I found some out west. So I found some firm out west, and I called them up and I said, all right, listen, I'm not real shy. If you can pick that up, it's pretty obvious, right? And I said, hey, listen, my name's Patrick O'Rourke. I'm out of Atlanta, and I can refer you a ton of business. But before I do, like, what's your background? Are you guys from the risk management business? And they're like, no. Okay. So he just rolled out of bed one day and decided to tango with insurance companies. Is that right? And they're like, well, here's our blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, how do you quantify the return on investment for your clients? Quantify return on investment for clients. That sounds like a great idea. How do you do that? So it's kind of like, well, let me call your clients. And I call their clients and I said, how'd it go? I said, well, we think it went well. You think it went well. What is there to think about? You used to get paid $700 for a crown, and now you get paid $900, or you don't. And they're like, well, we feel like our collections are up, and those guys did a great job for us. We endorse them. I don't know about you, Mark, but hope and pray, that's not a financial strategy that I subscribe to. And so I found this other outfit out of Baltimore, and I said, I called them up, and they said, yeah, we can quantify return on investment. We just want we put this thing on the server, and then we want 60% of the aggregate annualized increase that we obtained for 3 years. I said, I can't recommend that. I mean, that's really, 6 of one, half a dozen of another there, boss. And so I started to teach a class and what to say, how to say it, who to say it to. I didn't want to do this. And I got a lot of attention that way. People came to the classes. I got some corporate clients, for my other business. And, but they kept asking me to do it. It turns out it's pretty hard to do. And so one day I was like, I will go ahead and do it. I did it for a couple. And there's one doc in particular who was getting crushed. We made them in, $100,000. And, ever since that day, nobody called me about deferred compensation or executive benefits anymore. And it was all about this. And so it's been a wild ride since then, but it was kind of on accident, really. And
it's the hero's journey. It's I won't go backwards, but you faced your demise. I was a periodontist for a while. Mm-hmm. And I knew that many of my patients were mistreated by general dentists. And it's not bad or good. It's just at that time, many general dentists didn't even have a periodontal probe. And so I would get patients that had been neglected for years that suddenly had perio problems and was asked to fix them. Mm-hmm. So because I am somewhat like you, I went, well, fuck this. I'm going to fix this. So I decided to be a self-referred and have patients bypass the general dentist to get to me, and I would watch their health. So I came up with probably the first DSO on the planet, or whatever MSO on the planet, whatever you want to call it. And I got crushed. I lost all my referrals within 60 days. And so I had to make something else work. So I understand when you put yourself on the burning platform. So you came up with this business because of the need that was apparent to you. Let's talk about what this business does. Mm-hmm. So what do you do?
Well, I suppose the technical term for it is that we do dental network managed care analytics and contract strategic guidance. The docs really call it PPO analysis and negotiation. What we do is we look at the PPO contracts. Sometimes there's DHMO and EPO, right? So depending on what part of the country you're in. But, PPOs are by far 85% of the market in this country. So we look at the PPO contracts and then we analyze them, and then we go to the market, and the market not being Wall Street, the market being whatever networks are relevant in that area. And then we go to them and we say, this is our client. This is Dr. Mark Cooper. This is why Mark Cooper is awesome. All right. This is why you need him in your network. Give us your best shot. Now, they don't usually give you the best shot right away. And so, they send you something, you got to convert it, and we're comparing it, and then we're looking at the market as a whole. So this is a process. This is not overnight. This is projects are long term. And so we go back and forth until we feel like, to use my partner's verbiage, we squeezed all the juice out of the orange, right? So now we can see where the market is because we're grading them on a curve based on what the market is willing to pay Mark Cooper. Okay. So if the market is willing to pay Mark Cooper, you're a periodontist, so you're doing implants, right? So if the average, now we're looking at mode, median, standard deviation, real simple, average. If the average that the insurance industry is willing to pay Mark Cooper, for an implant, and we look at everything that you do, by the way, but not just 1 or 5 or top 10. We look at everything in the volume. It's
worried about your kids, worried about getting sick.
Yeah. But I mean, the cool thing is that you get to people are bitching a lot about it. I don't know. I'm a silver linings kind of guy, and I get to spend more time with my kids. Right? I know because people say they grow up so fast, and that's true. And so I've been trying to really take what I can out of it. Does that make sense?
Oh, I think this is the best time of my life. Are you kidding me? I'm able to create enormous amounts of stuff without having regulated to run around and do other things besides be where I want to be with whom I want to be with. But
Right.
I'm old, I'm giving myself permission to do only what I want to do, which means I don't have to be beholden to anybody. It's like I paid my dues. See, this is all white shit all over here.
Yeah. I got the cigars. I do what I want to do too, much to the chagrin of some other people in my life.
How old a guy are you? You're in the 50s?
I'm 41.
You're a young guy.
Yeah.
How do you convert knowledge to you? I gave you the major problem to figure out. How do you convert knowledge so it's transferable? How do you get?
And it's also it's not just a succession problem actually. So it's scalability is repeatability, and we're almost boutique-ish for that reason. So I said no last year probably more than half the time.
I understand, but
it's because people don't know what I'm talking about half the time. That's why I really love this. This has been great. You're picking up everything that I'm putting down. I had a client tell me the other day, he's like, I don't understand half what you're saying. I'm like, I've known you for 8 years. What are you talking about? And he's like, yeah.
Well, I matriculated in the School of Hard Knocks. I did a couple companies. I understand, and I worked in large corporate settings for 8 years. So I've had a full plate.
Right.
And I know that there's certain people that just can see the edges, they just can see, I see that coming. And so before it becomes a problem, they have the answer and then as the problem erupts, there's an answer present for people. Oh, yeah. So I think I said it before, what question are you the answer for? How do you get paid fairly? And we also spoke about the coronavirus and what it really means to now be appreciative of a business but I'm putting my life at stake here. So I think it's great. All right, buddy. I will edit. I will do my stuff. You set up the call. It's easy to do.
I will. So the other thing with the Dental Business Radio, the question was, and how I sort of stumbled across your Wisdom Chronicles. If you listen to the intro to Dental Business Radio, it's before I've heard of Wisdom Chronicles of Mark Cooper. I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I heard Wisdom Chronicles, and it was very, very similar. Yours is way better, way better. And I was like, wow, with him and I are peas as a pod for sure. And so I just want you to know, out of respect, like I didn't hear yours first and then do mine. I did mine and then I heard yours. And I'm like, I hope he knows I didn't listen to his first because they're so similar.
I hope you win big with it.
Yeah.
One of the things that happens is one ages, which is really interesting, is you lose your attachment. You lose the ego starts getting its hands off your neck.
That has started. I will tell you, big difference between 30 and 40. I reevaluated everything. I don't need to be the biggest, the baddest. I don't need to have the best car.
Right.
My kids love me. They think I'm cool. As long as I'm getting out of bed every morning and I feel like I'm genuinely helping people, that's okay. That's good enough for me.
And then there's couple more rungs on the ladder, which you're going to get to, which is how do I make a bigger contribution so my kids have a better life?
Right.
Not here, but out there. And that's going to come you're going to be ready for that. Because you can't stop. You can't, you got to continue to grow and express. That's kind of how you're built, man.
Yeah.
It's just, the mountain has no top. Don't worry. Keep on climbing.
All right.
All right,
Well,
then, man. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you, Mark. You take care.
You too.